Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Score Creatives YouTube channel. My name is Samuel, and today we're going to be having a very exciting conversation about brand strategy. And I have none other than Funsho Felix, a very amazing guest with us here. Hi, Funsho.
Hi, Samuel. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Are you good?
I totally am.
All right. So we'll be starting by, you know, you telling us a little about yourself. Just tell us a little about yourself, your background, you know, in brand strategy. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm Funsho, so my full name is like Oluwadaisi Funsho Felix. A lot of
Okay.
people don't usually get that first part. It's like, let's keep it to Funsho Felix. Like, it's not that hard. And I have been in the branding space. This will be my 6th year officially. So I've been in branding space doing different things in different capacities. I started as a graphic designer, and then moved my way. I discovered logo design is really my thing. Then niched down to brand design,
Okay.
and then from brand design, I realized it was a little bit on the surface. It doesn't have my designs don't have meaning. Clients keeps on coming back, and it was really frustrating designing something that would necessarily not work. So I moved from brand design to brand strategy officially in 2020,
Okay.
during the pandemic and the whole stuff.
Oh,
So I think I devoted like a major part of that year learning about brand strategy, reading books, and fortunately for me, I I have a background in psychology, so I studied psychology in the youth. Like, so it was interesting seeing something that kind of fits into what I want to do,
yeah.
and delving into brand strategy was just really interesting. Right, it's so cool. And of course, I remember going to my Instagram and creating content on branding, on brand strategy. I thought people already knew these things,
Yeah.
but then I discovered there's a gap out there, and I was able to build my audience through that. And then I worked with clients personally, freelancing, doing brand strategy with them, and also brand strategy. And of course, I got to also work with a global brand, Motto, in the process. And now I'm at Mustard, so leading the design and audience brand communications basically. So yeah, that's it for me. That's
Okay.
that's a little thing. I guess we'll cheap for the others anyway
Yeah.
as we go on.
All right. So I remember that the first time I um, got in contact with your content, it was through Instagram,
Okay.
and I just thought that wow, this is somebody that knows so much about brand strategy,
Yeah.
which was something I wanted to learn about too at the time. And yeah. All right. So
Interesting.
I'll be asking that in your own words, what is brand strategy? It's a term that gets thrown about a lot, and it's a term that people don't also understand a lot. Like
Yeah.
people don't have a clear understanding of what it is.
Mhm.
So, as someone that's been in the space for over 4 years,
Yeah.
what is brand strategy?
Okay. Brand strategy, it's simple. The process
Okay.
of winning a war
Mm,
in your competitive space, right? The process by which you harm your brand
mm,
with the necessary tools, with the necessary equipment, fight a war, and then win it,
mm.
and then dominate in
Okay.
your space, in your category, in your industry, right? So some people will say brand strategy is a plan to get from point A to point B. That's true, but I feel like we are oversimplifying the whole thing.
Mm,
It's sort of just arming the brand, right?
yeah.
With the required tools and necessary tools and equipment. Because when you say strategy, a lot of people a lot of people don't understand strategy. A lot of people like the word
Yeah.
because it's fancy. Let's do strategy,
Strategy.
let's do business strategy, let's do content strategy.
Yeah.
It's fancy, but not many people actually understand what it means. Before colonized, like before the world got really exposed and modern, we have guys like Alexander the Great. We
Mm,
have guys like all these war blitz that used to fight wars back
yeah.
then, right? And then when they want to go to war, when they are making preparations to go to war, they don't just go to war.
Mm,
They have like 100,000 armies, and they want to go and fight the next guy to maybe lay claim over a certain portion of the land or
yeah.
something. And then just like, okay, tomorrow we are going to fight this guy. Usually they don't just go there.
Yeah. True.
They don't just go there without planning.
Yeah.
And so they create what we call strategy to win a war.
Yeah.
And that's why you see the major generals that we know today, they usually they were popular for something. They were not popular because they had just won the war. I think they were popular because they won the war, but
Yeah.
underneath winning, there
There
is a
was
process where they planned
fun.
how to win. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And so that was where strategy really, for me, that was where strategy really came to life. Like, how do you plan to win? When brands started to like gain much more significance and all, and branding started as a way to mark entities.
Yeah.
I think the first case of branding then was when a cartoon was stamped with like a seal, like someone wearing a cartoon. When they needed to like ship the cartoon, in order for them to be able to recognize their own cartoons, they had to stamp a seal on all their cartoons, so that when they're eventually shipping and they're eventually like bringing everything down, they'll be able to identify their
Identify.
cartoon, right? And then that was how it started. And then businesses soon realize that, oh, we are not just the only players in this market alone. Then we need to make our product distinctive. And so they started coming in with branding concepts. That's when the visual identity, the logos and or whatnot. That was when it really gained dominance.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm just thinking that if there was no competition, it probably would not be branding would probably not be very popular. Because what necessitated branding was of competition.
Yeah.
And because of scarcity, right? There was competition, and then there was also scarcity. Scarcity in terms of we don't have money to be like the top guys in our space, right? We don't have money to do all these things that top guys are doing. Then let's make our own. Let's do something in our own way that will still be recognizable. Do you understand? And that's what really, for me, that's what really necessitated branding, brand strategy, and whatnot. Now, because of the insane number of competition that we have these days, brand strategy now became sort of like what everybody should have, right? And so strategy, that's where the strategy part came in. It's like brand, because when you say brand is the meaning, the associations, the elements that people attach to an entity, a product, or a service, right, in their minds, right? So you are not creating the brand essentially. It is people that is creating it for you because they have a certain perception of it in their minds.
Yeah.
Now, because of course there's so many people doing, like, if you think about the tech space now, people producing phones, you have hundreds of them, right?
Yeah.
But as a new phone manufacturer, how do you enter that space? Okay. Now there's a product side, there's a business side of things, there's a distribution side of things. But brand wise, how do you compete? Because a lot of people are not competing based on based on functionality alone. It's not just function anymore. What your phone can do, my phone can do it.
True.
What your car can do, my car can do it, right? And so we are competing based on meanings, based on associations, based on brand, right? So if you're thinking about these certain things, what brand will come to your mind? So that is what really necessitated the strategy side of branding, right? So that's why we have the brand strategy. And brand strategy is so nuanced. It is it's so interesting and really nuanced. And a lot of people tend to make their own different meanings of brand strategy. A lot of people think brand strategy is content strategy. It's not it. A lot of people think brand strategy is like just okay, let's create the logo, let's have a cool store. Let's roll it out. Let's roll it out in the road, in Jericho and in Ring Road. It's just, that's not how it works. But I'm sure we'll get to that at some point in the video. So yeah, really, brand strategy is just the process of arming a brand with the necessary tools and equipment for it to win the war in the competitive space.
All right. That's really beautiful and awesome.
Okay.
I really like the analogy you used of the war and tactics and all that. I think it suits perfectly. And so now this got me thinking that for businesses in Nigeria, small businesses to medium businesses, how important would you say brand strategy is to them? Being that in this space and scope, people are trying to maximize profits and reduce costs, and they might be businesses would actively try to reduce things that would take money out of their pockets
Mhm.
and reduce, their earnings. And I would assume that brand strategists or like to come at a cost.
Yeah.
So how important do you think it is? Can businesses survive without it? Or what do you think? What are the rules? What's the impact of brand strategy in Nigerian businesses or businesses at
Okay.
large?
That's a really good question.
Mm.
Um, so I'm going to answer it in a very in a, from different perspective, really. So like I said, strategy is a way to win
Okay.
in your competitive market. Now, for businesses in Nigeria, especially when you see small business, right? Let's face it, brand strategy is very important.
Mm.
Most small business will probably not know about the importance because, of course, their business is too small.
Mm.
Any They probably don't have enough market share, for them to be able to feel the impact, like the
Impact.
negative brand impact, right?
Yeah.
What they are doing is still on a very small scale. If anything happens, they don't necessarily need much PR, let's
Yeah.
put on Instagram and everybody else moved on, right?
Yeah.
As against a multinational
Mm.
or a bigger business, right?
Okay.
For example, we also what happened to the Ericsson tomatoes. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we also what happened to them. Just one negative review. I
Mm.
mean, if you go to Play Store now and look at some apps that have 3 point something, you see a lot of negative review as a company that you know.
Mm.
So what happened to Ericsson was a microcosm of what brands of what I mean of the impact of something, especially the negative thing, eating a brand
Mm.
and what they could do to that brand. From that single negative review, a lot of things spiraled. It started trending on Twitter.
Mm.
Before you knew it, they arrested somebody and everything has turned to right.
Yeah.
And then, assuming they had managed it, although that's another thing on its own, which is PR and whatnot, assuming they had managed it intelligently, maybe it wouldn't have become or became what everything turned to at the time. So, what I'm trying to say is, for small businesses, it is important to have it, but maybe not a necessity
Okay.
because of the stage that they are. Because when you talk about brand strategy requires a lot of resources, especially financial resources on the side of business. Now, most people that do brand strategy, they don't know this because they feel like it's something that you pick a paper, pen and paper, and you start thinking. Maybe you talk to the founder, the founder give you a couple of insights, then you run with it. And now ChatGPT is even making things easier. You go to
Mm.
ChatGPT, proof, that's it. Maybe you research a couple of Instagram handles here and there. It's like, that's fine. I used to do it. No cap, right?
Yeah.
But brand strategy, it takes much more than that, right? And then when we start to look at the skill at which it can get to, you start to realize that oh no, it takes a lot of money for you to achieve that. But like just like I said, brand strategy needs it. It's important for them.
Mm.
Maybe not a necessity because they're still small, but it's important to have because it's going to serve as a guide, like a direction to from where they are to where they
So what
want
do
to
you
get
need to do?
to where they want to get to. Yeah, and and to be honest, for small businesses, a lot can happen. It's just like startups in the tech world.
Yeah.
When you're a startup, you came up with your grand idea. Maybe you achieved some level of product market fit. Everybody knows you. Oh, nice, cool stuff. I like what you're doing. At some point, things might evolve. It
Mm.
might change. And what you started with is not what is going to help you grow. At the end of the day, it's not what is going to help you achieve a unicorn status, right? So that's just the way for smaller businesses. But some element of brand strategy are very important for this type of businesses. For example, the culture.
Mm.
Culture is a big part of brand strategy. It's like, what is your what is your brand? Like, why did you come? What did you come into this world to do? Right? What are the values that you're going to instill into your employees and people who are working with you to make sure they achieve your mission?
Mm.
So all of these things you can get it done with a brand strategy. And it's important for your growth because when you have that, when you know who you are, when you know what mission you're here to achieve, when you know the values that you need to embody in order for you to achieve that mission, and when you know what to do essentially internally, it's easy for you.
Yeah.
your positioning can change, your proposition can change, but you see that values is going to stay with you for a long time.
Mm.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's just like, for example, Google, right?
Yeah.
From the get-go, Google knew what they wanted to do in this life. They knew they wanted to be that source of information for everybody.
Mm.
And through thunders, through storms, they have stayed true to that value.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
They came up with so many products.
Products.
Some of them they killed at some point. They reduced some product and stuff, but they are still Google. You know who these people are. Same thing for Apple. When Apple wanted to derail from what they started with, their values and everything, they invited the owner back.
Yeah, they did.
Right? Steve Jobs came back, and everything changed again. So, and they've been at it for, since that time, although what they have been currently, I don't know. But, it's true for all these businesses. So, for a smaller business, and let's define small business. So, small business in this Nigeria, I don't know, your turnover, at least you'll be making more than 5, I think you'll be more than 10 or 20 million in a year. Right? If you're making less than that, then maybe you're not a small business, still a startup. Quote and unquote. Starting up. Right? So a lot of people like to IBN small business. What is it, a us or a small business?
Right.
I think it's that time you start differentiating in Nigeria. How much are you turning over every year? Is it just something that you do after your 9 to 5, or is something? Because if you're talking about small business, are you registered? They haven't registered their business and they're calling themselves small business. How does it happen? Do you have a I don't know, do you have a setup where you account for all the money that's entering and going out, all those things? How much is your customer base? How many employees do you have? I think according to something that I read back then, I think you should have, for a small business, you should have nothing more than 10. Right? 10 and lesser. Or at least it should be more than maybe 5 to 10. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's important to identify what a small business is, and then to do things in a way that aligns with the status of the business.
Being that you've worked in places like Moto and Mustard, how would you say brand strategy plays in, like, on the global scene and in multinational companies that handle bigger portfolios?
Yeah. So one answer, brand strategy for these big guys means setting the direction for the future. Right? When we talk about brand strategy is created to achieve a particular goal. Right?
Yeah.
It's a strategy for brands to achieve some set of objectives. So you want to get you from where you are to where you actually want to be. So, for example, Nike might be looking to, of course, Nike will not get to that level where where people don't know about them again, right? But let's say Nike might be wanting to, maybe they want people to know about a new campaign, right? Maybe that campaign is to maybe make more people aware about the injuries that football players go through. The campaign could go like maybe Ronaldo or fell off, maybe somebody injured him and maybe grabbed his leg. Maybe where he grabbed, there was a Nike switch there, or there is a hidden message there. Those things where BR football will capture it and say, it's it. And people start to see them like, nice.
Yeah.
Cool stuff, intelligent stuff. No, it's not intelligent. Nike has already planned it. You get? And depending on how well the campaign does, it means they've been able to achieve their objective, right? And that's a strategy on its own. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So for different brands, they have different goals when it comes to strategy. But what I discovered is, for bigger brands, they need strategy to achieve internal clarity and direction. So for example, Google. What strategy do you want to do for Google again? Google is already a global leader. Their market share is not going to shrink in the next foreseeable years. These guys are already made, right? They don't need strategy to make sales. They don't need strategy to be the biggest thing on planet Earth. They're already the biggest thing. You know what
Fine.
Google might need? They need a strategy to align their teams.
Mm.
They need a strategy to create something that unifies everybody, their employees, their stakeholders, their investors, that unifies them towards a particular goal.
Mm.
If you understand what I'm
Yeah,
trying
I
to say.
do understand.
And you realize that these are really important for these people. People already has a position, they know what they want to do. But in order to do what they want to do, they need a culture.
Mm.
They need a process. They need people to believe in that thing and to be able to carry out what they need to do to be able to achieve that thing. Who has a lot of thousands of employees worldwide, right? Just imagine those thousands of employees do what they like. Bro, you are going to enter Google and they are going to search something, tell me this, and Google is going to bring another thing. Because what? People who are supposed to do the work they're supposed to do, they are not doing it. Right?
Yeah.
So it's just that's strategy on a global scale. And working with brands like Moto, companies like Moto, perhaps, they opened me up to that side. So when they do consultation on this basis, usually it's for internal clarity. It's to align the direction of leadership, with the stakeholders and everybody, so that it's a different thing when I'm just working, just coming to my 9 to 5. I'm off again.
Yeah.
But it's a different thing when I know what I need to work towards. This goal is so big, I'm like, oh no, this is good. I need to work towards it. Right? I'm going to come to my workplace gingered, motivated, to want to carry out my task to do that thing. Right? Yeah. So that's brand strategy, the case study of brand strategy, how it works in global companies. When you come down to brands that wants to get to that next phase of growth, or want to achieve that growth to another, be a lot more bigger. Yeah. You find that brand strategy for them, usually the goal is to maybe increase user base, build more awareness, get people to try their product or their service, maybe get people to retain people, sort of loyalty and all those kind of things, right? So yeah, that's what usually one strategy is much more optimized towards this kind of business. So yeah, the easiest way to know if a brand is working is to pick up a product, right? What's the price of the product? Know the price, right? And then look at the category or like the industry that the brand is playing in. Okay. So for example, the regular one, which is the water industry, like the bottled water and stuff. Yeah. The regular Evers, they sell for how much? Regular prices. The normal Ever bottled water, you pick up a random bottled water on the street, usually you expect the price to be like 200. Yeah. But when you pick up Evian, do you know Evian? Right. You pick up Evian or you pick up Liquidate, these guys are selling for 2,000. Not hotel price, actual price. Okay. Exactly, retail price. And then you wonder, what is the difference? What are these guys doing? Right. Okay. And then, of course, a lot of people will say, when you check the packaging is not similar. Liquidate is using a can, and of course, maybe that should add to the price. What's not. But ideally, if ever adds their own water in the can, I can never buy it for 500. Sure. 2 days. Yeah. So and then when you now realize that it's not just the product, it's now the brand. Passive quality is a great thing. When people perceive that, oh, this is good, they are ready to, they will be inclined to pay more. But there's another thing, which is the big idea, the story that you represent. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. The essence of your brand that will then resonate with a certain set of people to make them, part away with the last cash on them to be able to acquire what you're producing. So that for me is one of the biggest miracles of brand strategy. Right? It's probably one of the biggest. Okay. And then when you look at brand strategy, you don't just look at it as just something that you write on a book, paper, give it to the founder. The founder just be like, oh, that is nice, good. Puts in his jar and looks. That's all. It's something that is living. It is a living document that, when implemented, can be a game changer. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me just speak a little bit about the idea, right? And probably give examples. So I don't know if you know Toms.
Yeah. I do.
Toms. You remember when Toms was still?
Mhm.
Did you wear Toms?
No. But I knew it very well.
I did wear Toms too,
Oh.
but I knew someone in it. And whenever I see them, I'm like, wow, one day I'm going to buy this thing. And even when I had the money, then Toms was not even in my head again.
Yeah.
But yeah, Toms became, of course, the fakes and the second fake and the fake were
Yeah.
the ones trending in Nigeria then. But globally, it was a moving product. I didn't say it was a trendy, it was a moving product. It was moving because of the brand's ideology, what the brands represent. Right?
Yeah.
The founder started the brand for the purpose of giving. Okay. He went on a vacation to Argentina, and in one slum noticed the kids are running around without shoes. All of them are, and walking around without shoes is probably one of the easiest ways to get diseases and whatnot. So he promised himself that he's going to start a shoe brand, and that for every pair of shoe brand that he sells to mainstream customers in the West and whatnot, a pair is going to be donated to one child in that part of Argentina.
Wow.
And so he said, wow. Yeah. And of course, let's be factual, the shoe was very nice at the time. It was different, it wasn't the regular thing that you see around. And because of the fact that the mission was moving, it generated sales. We were like, oh, this is good. I'm not just buying a shoe, I'm buying 2 shoes. Why? I buy one, another gets donated, and it was documented, and they made crazy sales in that period. In fact, Tom's was a thing in Nigeria then. And if you notice the logo, they had this white blue stripes, like the flag of Argentina. So it was a really moving mission. And maybe the founder himself didn't do a lot of strategy, but there was this strategy in the sense that, you know what, I'm not going to be like Nike, manufacturing shoes for athletes. Or Adidas or Fila or Puma. I am going to be the shoe manufacturer that wants to produce a shoe because I want to fulfill this mission. And so that is different. And when you think of Toms, you're thinking of Nike, you're thinking of Adidas, you're thinking a shoe that is used for improving people's lives somewhere. So it's really interesting how strategy can work, and how Martin Nimue said it in his brand Zag book, and that was probably one of my favorite books on branding, which is like, when people are moving in a way, when people are zigging, you do what? You zag. And it's just simple. From the statement alone, it was okay, if people are moving in this direction, move in this direction. But you see what? You know something? Most people are afraid to move in another direction. Head mentality. It's everywhere. If I'm moving in this way, why should I move the other way now? What's happening? I'll move this way now. And I think that is what I see in my practice majorly. When people see certain positioning statements, or when you present to them a certain idea, they're like, okay, they try to rationalize it. At some point, you guys have to come to the media and meet, for what they want to achieve and maybe the resources, and that's fine. But usually, the idea of branding or brand strategy is that when your competitors are doing something a certain way, try to look for what they are not doing. There is always a gap, and when you identify that gap, plug your brand into it and watch what happens. And there are so many brands like that have done just that. And I'm not talking about ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is a monopoly. Yeah, it's a monopoly. Talking about brands that came up to do something different than what their competitors are doing, right? And they position in a different way. So that's brand strategy for me. It's how to strategically, in a methodical way, position a brand in another way that competitors are not currently positioned, and for people to be able to make associations to that thing that they are positioning with, and to be able to drive sales for the brand. That for me is the most important.
At this point, I'd like to find out, what you think are the best practices for, brand strategy, like the things people should definitely know and hold on to. Yeah.
Okay, I guess so that question would, the answer to that question would weave in into maybe when we go to the case study part, and I'm trying to like explain a lot of things.
Yeah.
So one of the things that people should do when it comes to brand strategy is to understand customer.
All right.
A lot of us, we want to do brand strategy. Like I'm not calling people out to, but you see us designers and strategists. Usually, it's great because I transitioned from a designer to strategist. I'm still doing design. Don't get me wrong, but I have come to love the strategy side of things, and I made a lot of concessions. I made a lot of sacrifices in that I had to drop some things for me to be able to improve on some certain things. So strategy is not what you do on your desk or trying to conjure up fancy words, the ultimate jailbreaker, the most innovative brand on earth, all those fancy messages. Allure. Nah. Understand the customers first. Who is the brand serving? What is the bullseye? Like if you need to define the customer that the brand is serving in just some statements, how would you define the person? And a lot of people miss it when it comes to research and customers. Of course, we have our buyers. Maybe the client comes here and says, "Okay, so we sell skincare products. We are our target audience between 18 and 60." No, my mom don't care about that at this point.
Right.
Our target audience is 18 and 60. We do this, we do that. Fine. And then a mistake that most people do is they take that assumption of the client and then weave it into their brand strategy. So most people want to weave their strategy around what the client knows or has presented to them. Usually, the client is coming to you for help. You are not supposed to take their assumptions at face value. You are supposed to dig deep. You're supposed to know who they actually are serving, and be able to draw out insights or draw information from your research. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have been in that space in the past. All what I'm saying, I have done it before. I'm not going to lie to you. But the thing is, I realized that with more practice, then I need to be more real. I need to be more practical with what I'm doing. So understanding the customers first seems like a regular idea, but there is a lot to understanding the customers.
That's
right?
very true.
My last strategy project that I did, I actually interviewed the client. There's something called, okay, so when it comes to customer research, you have three ways that you can do it. The ethnography, where you watch them, you watch the customers live their life from afar. You have the qualitative research, where you do things like the interviews, you call them face to face, you have a conversation with them. And the last one is a quantitative. The quantitative is to get data like surveys. So those are three major ways, right? So you should be able to use one or a combination of all these three to be able to get into the mind and to be able to understand the customers in deeper details, right? So I think that is very important. One of the best practices that people need to know about. Then the second thing is that strategy is not just a set of words that you write in a book. It's not a textbook. A lot of people write textbook for strategy. For brand strategy, it doesn't require a textbook. If a strategy is a textbook, your client is going to collect it and keep it in his drawer and going to comment, "You nice, you wrote a dictionary for me." So it's important to know that you need to keep your strategy as specific and precise as much as possible. and also you need to keep it simple. Okay,
Yeah.
and that is something that I myself I'm striving to do most of the time. Right, keep things simple, keep things detailed. There's something called strategy on the paper, right? In the ad space, in the advertising space, you do strategy on the paper. All what the copywriters and the creative director want to see is just that one on that single page. If you can't summarize your strategy in a single paper, that's I don't know, I don't want to say trash, but that is not a good job,
Yeah.
right? So you should be able to summarize your strategy in a single page,
Yeah.
And when we're talking about strategy, we're talking about the core. I feel like the core thing to strategy is the big idea, the positioning. What is this brand here for? How are they different to other people? That is the major thing for strategy for me. Because when you know that thing, when you know how they are different, everything falls into place. How their logo will look like, it will come. How they need to create a video to do a campaign, it's going to come, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't get that, trust me. And I saw a strategy. I used to see brand strategy. I saw one in the past. It was like 50 pages. They're like, no, no, no. And everything is inside the what the guy did. Everything like the research and what he researched, everything and this and that. I said to him, bro, don't you think this is too long? I'm already sleeping reading through this thing. Nobody's going to read through this thing. It's fine, it's nice.
Yeah.
But keep the most important things to your brand strategy. Right? Your brand strategy, you don't know where it's going to get you. Your founder, he or she has things that he's going to pick from that strategy and include it in his deck, in his pitch deck that will present to the investor. And the person will be backing it up and say, no, this is what we do. This is us. And you that did the strategy, you just wrote something from ChatGPT. Somebody is defending your work. Right?
Yeah.
So it's important to be real and also keep things simple as clear as possible. One of the things that I'm noticing these days is the use of AI tools.
Okay.
If I recently, I even saw one platform that can do strategy for you without lifting, without writing anything. They just do the strategy, they just input stuff from the it's a strategy platform. It's a good solution, to be honest. I like the fact that the person was, because I'm always thinking, how can we turn this thing into a strategy as a tool or as a service, SaaS. But this guy did it and it was nice. But what I'm realizing more these days is that AI cannot efficiently do brand strategy for you. I'm still going to come to that maybe when we're doing the writing and stuff. But AI can do it for you. So those AI programs, they've been programmed to fetch for you information that you already know. No AI is going to think innovatively for you. No. Because why? Why would they? They are programmed to process or analyze the information that they've been fed. So if you're talking to an AI and say, AI, I need a positioning statement for this brand, this is what they do, this is what they do. AI is going to pull back what you put into it and give it to you that, this is what you need to do. And the mistake most people do is that they just go with it like that.
Yeah.
And it's going to give you all the big words in this life that I haven't heard before. I don't know if you remember something that was trending on Twitter when somebody did. What's that word? Delve.
Yeah,
Delve.
Yeah, it was Delve.
It was funny.
So funny.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
Right? So it's going to conjure up words, right, for you. And you are going to see it as the amen of it, right? So AI is useful to research brand strategy, to do customer research, to do you already had the big idea for the purpose, the mission statement and whatnot. Then you put it into AI to help you refine things.
Yeah.
Which is good for that. But when it comes to generating ideas, giving you what is going to get the customers to move, the X factor, it's not going to give you. And I think that people should chew when using AI. They should use it intelligently, use it strategically, understand the boundaries of AI, and then you do the thinking for AI. Right. So yeah, those are my three key points.
So awesome. So that's like a combination of human,
Yeah.
The human part and the machine
Yeah.
or technology.
Absolutely.
Amazing. All right, so we've come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for riding with us and sticking to us to this point. Do well to check out Funsho Felix on Twitter and on Instagram. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much. See you soon.